My fiancée chuckled during our prenup meeting and said, "Just so you know, my finances are untouchable, even after we're married." I gave her a small smile, then quietly slipped the engagement ring off her finger and left the room. A week later, she showed up at my workplace, tears streaming down her face, insisting she thought I'd been joking. Hey viewers, quick note. Only 8% of you watching are subscribed, and the channel's growth has stalled. If you enjoy these stories, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps keep the content coming. Thanks. 2 weeks ago, I learned exactly how my fiancé envisioned our marriage. It's still hard to believe how quickly everything fell apart, though the red flags were probably there all along. Emily and I had been engaged for 8 months, together for 3 years. We met at a friend's barbecue and clicked instantly. She was intelligent, witty, stunning, and seemed like someone I could share a future with. I proposed last summer at her family's annual beach house rental. Our wedding was set for 6 weeks from now. Invitations were mailed, the venue was reserved, and flowers were ordered. Everything was in motion. Emily had been obsessing over every detail for months, from color schemes to table settings to guest arrangements. I assumed her excitement was about our marriage. Turns out, she was thrilled about the wedding itself, not the commitment of being married. Emily works in medical sales, earning around $130,000 a year. I'm a high school English teacher, pulling in $48,000. She's always been proud of her income and independence, which I admired. I never minded that she earned more. In fact, I thought it was great that we both contribute to our shared future. So, her words at the prenup meeting blindsided me completely. Emily insisted on a prenuptial agreement due to our income disparity. It seemed reasonable, protect both our interests, keep things clear and equitable. We each hired separate attorneys to negotiate the terms. The discussions had been ongoing for 3 weeks, covering typical topics like safeguarding premarital assets, handling joint purchases, and outlining what would happen in case of divorce. Our lawyers collaborated to draft a fair agreement. We scheduled what was meant to be the final signing last Tuesday afternoon. Emily's attorney had included all the agreed terms, and my lawyer had given the green light. I walked into the conference room expecting a straightforward signing of a document that protected us both. Emily seemed at ease, chatting with her lawyer about wedding stress and our honeymoon plans. Her attorney began reviewing the final agreement page by page. Asset protection, debt allocation, property ownership, all the legal groundwork for our financial partnership. Emily nodded along, looking pleased with the terms. Then we reached the clause about joint financial decisions for major purchases during marriage. My lawyer had insisted on including this, requiring both spouses' consent for purchases over $10,000. It was standard language to ensure partnership, nothing out of the ordinary. Emily's lawyer had approved it weeks earlier without issue. But when he read the clause aloud for final confirmation, Emily burst out laughing, as if it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. "Hold on a second," she said. "Just so you know, Michael, my money's completely off limits, even after we're married. I'm not giving you any say over how I spend my income." I thought she was joking about the formal wording. "What do you mean, off limits?" I asked. "I mean my earnings, my savings, my investments, they all stay under my control. I'll cover my share of household bills, obviously, but big financial choices about my money are mine alone." Her lawyer looked puzzled. "Emily, we reviewed this clause 3 weeks ago. You agreed to the joint decision-making language," her attorney said. "I agreed for his purchases, not mine." My lawyer interjected, "Ms. Carter, the agreement applies equally to both parties. Neither spouse can make major financial decisions alone." "Then rewrite it," Emily said. "My money, my rules." The room fell silent. Both attorneys exchanged glances, clearly thrown off. "Emily," I said carefully, "we're supposed to be a team. That's the whole point of marriage." "We are a team," she replied, "but I'm not letting anyone else control the money I've earned." "It's not about control," I said. "It's about making decisions together as partners." "Same thing," she shot back. "What I do with my income is my call." She was dead serious. No humor. No room for discussion. Just a blunt statement that the agreement we'd negotiated didn't apply to her finances. "So, let me get this straight," my lawyer said. "You want Mr. Thompson bound by joint decision rules, but you want total freedom to spend your money as you see fit?" "Exactly," Emily said. "I've worked hard to build my financial security. I'm not letting anyone else tell me how to use it." "Emily, that's not what a marriage partnership is," I said. "That's what this marriage is." Accept it or walk away. The room went quiet. Emily stared at me, her expression daring me to challenge her stance. The lawyers shifted uncomfortably, and used to such a derailment. Accept it or walk away, she'd said. After 3 years together, 8 months engaged, and 6 weeks before our wedding, she was issuing an ultimatum about something we'd already settled. I smiled at her. That's an interesting take on marriage. I'm glad you get it, she said. Oh, I get it completely. I reached across the table, gently slid the engagement ring off her finger, and her eyes widened in shock. What are you doing? Taking your advice. I'm walking away. Michael, what are you talking about? I stood, slipping the ring into my pocket. If you want total financial independence from your spouse, you should stay single. It's much easier that way. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. You just declared you want a marriage with separate finances and no shared decisions. That's not a marriage. It's a roommate arrangement with extra steps. Michael, sit down. We can adjust the agreement. There's nothing to adjust. You've made your stance crystal clear. Your money's untouchable even by your husband. I respect your choice. I didn't mean it like that. You meant exactly what you said. And now you can keep your finances entirely separate from anyone's input. Emily looked panicked. Michael, please. Let's finish this meeting and talk privately. The meeting's done. You've shown me what kind of marriage you want, and it's not one I'm signing up for. Her lawyer spoke up. Mr. Thompson, maybe we should reschedule after everyone's had time to reflect. I don't need time to reflect. Emily was clear about wanting financial independence after marriage. She should have that. I headed for the door. Emily sat there, stunned. Michael, you're overreacting. Come back, and we'll sort this out. Sort what out? You said accept it or walk away. I'm following your advice. I didn't mean walk away literally. When someone gives you an ultimatum about marriage, sometimes they get a response they didn't expect. I left the room and drove home. That evening, I started contacting vendors about cancellation policies. Since we'd split wedding costs evenly, I could cancel my share without Emily's approval. I lost about $8,000 in non-refunded deposits, but it was worth it. Emily called 2 hours later. Michael, what did you do? Started canceling my half of the wedding expenses. Since you don't want a real partnership, it seemed like the next step. You what? Canceled my portion. You don't want to be true partners, so there's no wedding. I do want to be married. I just want some financial autonomy. Total financial autonomy. You said your money's untouchable, even after marriage. I was being dramatic. We can find a middle ground. There's no middle ground between shared decisions and untouchable money, Emily. Yes, there is. We can raise the threshold or add exceptions. You weren't open to exceptions an hour ago. You said accept it or walk away. She called repeatedly over the next week, leaving voicemails about how I was blowing things out of proportion, how we could fix this, how she didn't mean it the way it came out. But I'd heard her loud and clear. Emily wanted the status of marriage without the partnership. Word spread fast about the canceled wedding. Emily's friends called, asking what happened. I told them the truth. Emily declared at our prenup signing that her finances would remain untouchable, even by her husband, and I decided that wasn't the partnership I wanted. Most were shocked. Apparently, Emily hadn't shared her financial independence stance with anyone else. Her best friend called 3 days after the meeting. Michael, Emily's saying you canceled the wedding because you wanted to control her money. That's not true. I canceled it because she said her money's untouchable, even after marriage. She said that, verbatim, in front of both lawyers, during the final signing. No wonder you walked out. I'd have done the same. By Friday, Emily's family was calling to get the real story. She told them I'd become controlling about her finances. I explained what actually went down at the meeting. Her mom called Saturday morning. Michael, I'm so sorry. Emily never mentioned wanting to keep her finances completely separate after marriage. I didn't know either until Tuesday. That's not how we raised her to view marriage. I know, Mrs. Lee. You and your husband have always modeled true teamwork. Is there any way you two can resolve this? Not unless Emily changes her core beliefs about marriage. She's been upset all week, calling us in tears. I'm sure, but she was very clear about her stance. The following Tuesday, I'm teaching 4th period when the school secretary interrupts, saying there's an urgent visitor in the office. I arrived to find Emily in the waiting area, looking like she'd been crying for hours, dressed in wrinkled sweats, hair in a messy bun, completely unkempt. Michael, thank God. We need to talk. Emily, you can't show up at my school. This is my job. You're not answering my calls. This was my only option. There's nothing to discuss. You made your stance clear at the signing. I was wrong. I got scared about losing my independence and said things I regret. You weren't scared. You were honest, and that honesty showed we want different things. I don't want different things. I want a real partnership with you. No, you want the benefits of marriage while keeping total financial control. That's not partnership. Michael, please. I've been reflecting all week. I was selfish and wrong. You were clear about your expectations. There's nothing wrong with knowing what you want. There's everything wrong with how I acted. I love you and want to marry you and build a life together. You love the idea of marriage, but you don't want to be married to me. The school secretary was pretending not to listen. Staff members passing by glanced at the scene unfolding. Emily, this isn't the place. I need to get back to class. Then meet me after school. Please, just hear me out. Hear what? You told 2 lawyers your money's untouchable, even by your husband. That wasn't a mistake. It was a fear-driven reaction. I panicked about losing control. And now you don't have to share control with anyone. Problem solved. Michael, I'm begging you. Give us another chance. A chance for what? For you to act like you want partnership until after the wedding. To prove I want a real partnership. I'll sign any agreement you want. Emily, you showed your true colors. Don't backtrack now because you see the consequences. My true feelings are that I love you and want to be your wife. Your true feelings are that you want marriage while keeping your finances separate from your husband. Find someone who's okay with that. The principal appeared, looking concerned about the disruption. I needed to end this. Emily, you need to leave. I'm at work. Michael, please don't throw away 3 years over one conversation. I'm not throwing away 3 years. I'm avoiding a lifetime of conflict with someone who sees marriage differently. I see it the same way now. No, you don't, and that's fine, but we're not compatible for marriage. She left in tears. I spent the rest of the day answering colleagues' questions about the scene. Most were supportive once they heard what happened at the prenup meeting. That was a week ago. Emily's been texting nonstop about reconciling, but I haven't replied. Her friends keep asking if I'll reconsider, but my stance is firm. When someone says their money's untouchable even after marriage, take them at their word. Don't hope they'll change or didn't mean it. Emily showed me her vision for our marriage. A social arrangement where she'd keep total financial independence while I'd be bound by shared decision rules. That's not a marriage. It's an unfair deal. The wedding would have cost $24,000 total. I lost $8,000 in deposits, but that's a small price compared to divorcing someone who never wanted true partnership. Emily wanted a marriage where her finances stayed untouchable. Now she gets to keep them that way.